Hello, everyone. This is David Jagno with UploadVR.com coming at you live with the VR download here today on this wonderful Thursday. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of VR games. There's a lot of news to cover today. We have an exciting topic to cover, and I'm joined by two wonderful, beautiful, amazing people also from Upload VR. Hello, Zena and Jamie. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. It is a wonderful Thursday.
Oh, thank God it's Thursday. I mean, yeah. Great Thursday, everyone.
Yeah, did you know? I'm doing pretty well, and I think we should all take a moment to celebrate. It's essentially been a year since lockdown, basically. That's
oh my God.
That's how long it's been, and
that makes like this the most social interaction I've had all year has been inside this room.
Oh my God, you're so
like
right.
Like my closest to actual
accurate. That is a pretty accurate thing to say. Yeah. So hello everyone in chat. How are you doing today? Quick shout out to our quick shout out to our members here on YouTube. We've got Dominique Frutchman, John Westra, B.R. Shaw, Timmy Brown, Adam Hartzell, and Andy Lim. All are paid subscribers here on our YouTube channel. They get fancy badges next to their names. They get cool emotes they can use in chat. And they are our most cherished members of the Upload VR community. Second only to everyone else. There are two tiers, you know. So that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, what's going on, Chris? Onakazi, Mike Ward, Smash Reality, G-Dog, Charles Woods.
G-Dog!
Hey, Charles Woods. Good to see you.
Hello, Charles Woods.
Hope everyone's doing great. I know Climb 2 is a game a lot of people are talking about. It's already being talked about in chat, so why don't we go ahead and we'll just dive into what we've been playing. But I'll save the Climb 2. I'm going to save it. So, Zena, what have you been playing?
Oh my gosh. Well, actually, it's more about what I've been viewing, and that's mostly Wraith. And Jamie, you've been playing a lot of it. I've seen a lot of gameplay about it. It looks pretty darn good. And just coincidentally, it is our access game for this month, our upload access game.
Well, what is pray thee tell? Well, what is upload access?
I'm glad you asked, David. I'm really glad you asked. Upload access is a new thing that we launched on Monday. The idea being that once a month we take an upcoming VR game and we dedicate a month to covering that game down to the very tiny details, getting you really cool exclusive content, talking to the developers, learning a bit more about the game, learning a bit more about the studios, and doing some really cool kind of cover feature stuff for games. So yeah, our first game of the month is Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife from Fast Travel Games, set in the World of Darkness universe. The game is coming out next month on the Oculus Rift and the Oculus Quest, and then in May it's coming to Steam VR, and then a little later on down the line it's coming to PSVR. But this week we had the chance to go hands-on with it. We've got the video version of our preview running on Stevie the TV right now, and this is good. I was pleasantly surprised playing this demo in some strange ways, because as we all know, regular viewers will know, Jamie Feltham, VR coward, cannot handle VR horror to save his life. Emitted a very high, piercing shriek at a specific point in Resident Evil 7, playing through that I didn't even know I could reach that tone when I screamed.
Oh my God, yeah, I was in the room when that happened.
I heard you from America. Oh. Yeah.
There was some window shattering in San Francisco, I believe. So the idea with Wraith, though, is that it's a horror game. It's scary. There's going to be bits that make you jump and whatnot, but they're not like putting their foot down on all of those elements. They're not making it so like masochistically insanely scary that you can't handle it. The team at Fast Travel are going for tension, and these guys right here. Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing about it, is that these guys originally made Apex Construct and The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets, which is arguably VR's most pleasant game, and now they're making a game where you see dead bodies hanging from trees, which is quite funny.
We call that range. That's what that's called.
A very diverse range indeed. So yeah, you die in Wraith. No, it's not spoilers. It's a thing that happens right at the start of the game, and you come back in the afterlife as a Wraith. And you have like your own set of powers and skills, and you return to the Barclay Mansion where you died to find out why you died, what was going on with other people in the mansion. Fast travel gave us access to the first hour of the game, which kind of gives you a good feel for the mood, the atmosphere, and some of the mechanics going on. It's a very narrative-driven game, so as you're exploring the mansion, you'll be getting like these ghostly silhouettes of what you the conversations people are having surrounding your death and what led to it. And then it's also kind of a stealth game. You have these things called specters, which are also kind of dead people that are more deadly than you. I call them deadly dead people.
Oh man,
and
that thing was terrifying.
So they are in certain areas of the game. You have to avoid them, like kind of lean around pillars and stuff. Really, literally leaning into all that stuff that makes VR horror work really, really well. But like I said, it's not huge on jump scares. The jump scares that are in the first hour, it's not like a door slams and then a violin goes really, really loud all of a sudden somewhere and you don't want to play anymore. It's like you'll see like a momentary flash in the corner of like maybe like a body or something.
At the end of this video, you'll see one.
We might see it if we get to the end. It's a very kind of calculated, interesting approach to horror that I really, really liked, because essentially it meant I could play it, and that's important for me because horror aside, Wraith is a game that I know I've always wanted to play, and I found it manageable so far. I found it really tense. I found it really suspenseful. But I've never found it really, really overwhelming, which was I was worried that was going to happen, right? So it's promising. Fast Travel said that what I've seen so far is maybe about 20% of the game. So I would imagine that people will probably be able to run through it maybe in like 5 hours, maybe 6 to 7. It was all very simple introductory stuff. Like the stealth element that's in the demo is not hard. It's very scripted, but there's hints about deeper gameplay to come throughout. Like there's broken glass on the mansion floor, and if you step on it, it crunches. So you know that you have to avoid that to make sure that specters don't hear you. And then there's also like wardrobes to hide in, and one of your powers will allow you to like walk through walls. One of the powers we're seeing right now lets you burn through vines. So there's kind of a Metroidvania element going on to it. It's pretty promising. I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm not just saying that because it's our upload access game of the month, which I am very, very excited about. David, you both know actually that I said this was one of my most anticipated VR games of the year, and so far I think it's shaping up pretty well.
Yeah, and also just as a point to emphasize for people, this game was picked for upload access before you ever played the demo. So it's not like you played the demo and realized it was pretty good, and then we decided to feature it. This is a game people are excited about, and so we decided that it was worth our time to invest a month of coverage. And fingers crossed, kind of turned out like you like it. So hopefully it is a good game. But this upload access works a lot like a magazine cover reveal, like Game Informer, or these things are planned in advance, and so the game being something you like isn't necessarily a given. So it's pretty promising. And what you described, I would say, sounds a lot more involved and a lot more robust than a lot of Quest games, especially. What you described is something you might see out of a PSVR game or a PC VR game, but it seems like Quest is missing a lot of these heavy narrative 6+ hour long adventures. So that's pretty awesome. And I like spooky stuff, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and a couple of other things to say about it is, first of all, if you were watching on the TV just then, everything you saw from that preview was on Quest 2. So I have to say the game looks really good running on Quest 2. I think it's definitely one of, if not the best Quest 2 looking games I've seen. I was crouching in that bit, G-Dog, Cheeseburger, and Smash Reality. You're not a short ghost. You have to crouch sometimes to get through areas. I mean, I probably am a pretty short ghost as well, but I'd still need to crouch. That's why I was on the floor just then. But yeah, it's coming out next month, and we have loads of coverage about it this month. Come back tomorrow. We'll be talking to the developers about how they approached horror in the game. Next week, I believe we're going to debut some exclusive gameplay, which is very, very exciting.
Yep. Have a look at who are Fast Travel Games.
Yep, that's on. That's the week after, or the week.
That's on the 11th.
The same week.
I've got the whole schedule here.
Lay it out for us, Xena.
All right, on the 5th, we have got Taking VR Horror Beyond Jump Scares. On the 8th, we have got gameplay for The Powers of a Wraith. On the 11th, Who Are Fast Travel Games. On the 15th, we are looking at bringing the World of Darkness to VR. On the 22nd, we've got gameplay commentary of The Powers of a Wraith. And on the 29th, we are looking at The Art of Wraith.
Yeah, good stuff. And there might be a few other things. I don't know yet, but it'd be cool to have Fast Travel in here. If you guys want to ask them questions, maybe that's something we could do. But I'm looking forward to that. Whatever happens, it's gonna be a good month.
Yeah, sure.
Hello,
David.
Grounded Pilot. Hello, Luca, G-Dog, Smash Reality, Paradise Decay. Hello, everybody. Also, quick point you brought up is that this is a World of Darkness game, which is the same universe as Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines and what's the new one that came out? Werewolf: The Earthblood Apocalypse or whatever.
Yeah,
it did not review well. It doesn't look like a very good game. And the Vampire Bloodlines 2 has been delayed indefinitely, and the entire studio got laid off. So who knows if that game's ever coming out?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's a weird one, right? I kind of compare the World of Darkness thing. It's the same kind of scale as like Warhammer, right? And they have their thing that makes them loads of money, which means they also get to fund games that aren't in like the massive, or sometimes they aim for the hugely AAA space, and then they actually fall short of that once they get here, right? And that's why Fast Travel and VR is a good pick for the World of Darkness in some ways, because you've kind of already got your expectations in place that this isn't going to be some 30-hour massive RPG, and that VR isn't really in that place yet. So I think it's a very measured and it's a piece of the time for VR, I guess you would say.
Okay, cool. And Luca, thank you for helping me with my segue here. Luca did leave. They were going to go play The Climb 2, but the download is taking longer than they thought it would. So instead, they're back because it's a 4 gigabyte download. And I'm here to tell you that I've been playing The Climb 2. I've already played The Climb 2. It's awesome. I liked it a lot. You can read my review at uploadvr.com if you'd like. Spoiler, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was very good. In fact, that's great on our scale. If you were to pick a word on our scale to describe 4 out of 5. And this is obviously, as the name implies, this is the sequel to The Climb, which was Crytek's rock climbing game that came out in 2016. It's funny because that game actually originally came out back before the touch controllers were out. So when The Climb first came out, it was a gamepad game, which is so weird to think about. But you would just aim with your face and then pull the left trigger and right trigger on the controller to move your hands. And very strange that's how it worked. I mean, it worked well. It wasn't bad. It was just, it's weird to think about now.
It's prehistoric in terms of VR, isn't it?
It is, right? Yeah, it's a lot of people don't even realize that there was almost a whole year where the Rift existed without touch controllers.
Yeah.
That was about it. Yeah, I mean it was a solid 8 months of games that feel like they're from an entirely different era, even though they came out the same year as Arizona Sunshine. So it's kind of funny to think about that way. And so The Climb 2, it expands on basically everything from The Climb. You have a much more diverse range of environments. They have, snowy mountains, kind of canyon mountains. You've got traditional like Alp style mountains. There's cities. There's, all kinds of different environments. There's new mechanics now as well. Whenever you climb, you have to you can do what's called a half grip. So if you only pull the trigger slightly on the touch controller, it doesn't expend your stamina as much. So you have to kind of be careful about how tightly you grab onto ledges to you balance your stamina. And whenever you're not holding onto something, you can shake your hand to re-chalk it, so you can get like new grip on your hand, which increases your maximum stamina. And there's like, they have like zip lines now and all that kind of stuff. And for me, what I found is that where the game gets really fun and exciting is, first of all, if you force yourself to not use the guide button, because you can press a button that will show you a path on the mountain or on the building of where you're supposed to go. If you resist using that, it's a lot more fun. And also, if you throw yourself a lot or jump a lot. So what you can do is if you hold on to something, you can push and then release to launch yourself. And doing that to get across gaps is just so fun. It's
Kind of like the
very
game
exhilarating and
Toss.
exciting. What'd you say?
Kind of like the game Toss that we played on stream a couple weeks ago.
Oh, it was. It is a
You're
bit
a
like that,
monkey
isn't
and
it?
you
Yeah.
can actually throw yourself across.
Yeah, good old Toss. Great game.
Yeah.
David, I saw a snake in that trailer.
Oh,
Is there a that I mean that literally there was a snake, not
horror
like
element.
is that a thing? Are there often snakes, or was it just like this one specific moment you peek over and there's a snake?
So the environments have wildlife in them. The snake, I think, is only that one exact moment. There's another area that has like a little, I guess, like a groundhog comes out and kind of runs around. And in the city, you'll have like choppers fly over, or there's some kind of tense moments like you saw in the trailer. There's that moment where the ladder is about to fall and it swings across, and there's some ledges that break after you hold on to them for more than like 3 seconds, so you have to be quick. And so there's tense moments and there's like intensity, but there's not any like jump scary stuff. I mean, the snake kind of, but that's kind of about it. And to answer someone in chat, G-Dog, I have given a 5 out of 5. I gave a 5 out of 5 to Asgard's Wrath. That was our very first 5 out of 5 here on Upload VR.
Yeah, we've given a few.
There you go.
There was Asgard's. There's obviously Half-Life Alyx. We gave one. I gave one to a VR movie called Battlescar a couple of weeks ago, but that's a VR movie, so if you're not into that, you won't think it's 5 stars.
Pistol Whip.
Pistol Whip got a 5 stars, I believe.
Ghost Giant.
Ghost Giant got a 5 stars, and I think I gave a 5. Yeah, Superhot probably got 5 stars. We should recap all the like top scoring games at some point, but yeah, we've given a few. David, I'm interested to know. I wasn't a huge fan of the first time. I played around with the first couple of levels on Quest, and I thought, that it's fun. I get it. If I wasn't a big believer in the first one, would this one have anything for me?
Quickly, I want to answer Jeffo. It uses controllers. It's not a hand tracking game.
Oh yeah.
I think if they could do hand tracking, that'd be awesome. But there are some button inputs that you have to use every now and then, so I don't know how they would do that yet. I would say that you would probably have interest in this one, because to me, the first one, after you do the first like 2 or 3 climbs, you've kind of seen the whole game. This one feels different because all 5 of the locations are so varied, and there's more mechanics this time around. So like, for example, the first thing it did was the very first course that's available after you go to training. It's like the very first basic one, and all of the ledges have like little white marks on them for you to grab onto, so it's easy to see where to go. And then after that, I went ahead and skipped all the way to the city because everything's unlocked from the beginning. I skipped all the way to the city environment, and I did like the intermediate course in the city, and it was totally different. Like, because whenever you're climbing on a building, some of them have clear divots where you can put your hand, but there's other sections where I had to see like right here, you can see on the right hand where there's like a little handhold. But later on, there are some sections of the buildings where I couldn't tell where I was supposed to go. Like I had to physically like kind of scale my hands across, like a windowsill, and then go like find a brick that was kind of exposed, and like you have to actually search and explore a little bit in some of these environments. And so that that was something the first game was missing. I thought the first game was almost always clear, almost like Uncharted, where it's clear where you're supposed to jump to. But some of these courses, I found that they actually felt very organic and realistic, in that I was physically having to search for a path, and it wasn't really clear what to do or where to go. And all those extra mechanics, I think, add a lot of depth to it, because there's more strategy involved now about, do you just quickly kind of grab and go, or do you want to be more careful and do a half grip, or there's kind of more nuance to it, and I liked that aspect of it. It was a little more engaging that way. Well, one thing that I brought up in my review is that I think it's a damn shame this game isn't on PC VR. I hope it comes to PC VR, because all the footage in the trailers it says captured on PC in the bottom, which is incredibly misleading, first of all. And it still looks good on Quest, but especially the city environment, like in particular the city, you can just tell and feel that this is being held back by the hardware. Because there's moments where it does not. No, like especially the buildings in the distance. Yeah, like the buildings in the distance here, like they feel like they look like they're plastic, like toys on the Quest. But in the footage here, this looks like a real landscape. And that was something I noticed. And another thing too is that the draw distance isn't good, because there were moments where like I would have to ride a zip line, and I would be like, going down super fast, and then I'm approaching this wall, and I can't even see where I'm supposed to grab. And then I get launched into the air, and then all of a sudden the handholds appear in front of me, and I have to grab onto them because of the draw distance.
Weird. That's so weird.
That didn't happen a ton, but it did happen every now and then. So that was kind of a bottleneck for me.
It would be really fascinating to know where they started with the game, because it's the same thing they did with the Jurassic World game, right? Is they advertised, they used the PC version that hasn't actually come out to advertise the graphics and how it looked. And
real quick,
go for it.
Heaney, if you want to go to the Upload VR YouTube channel, I have a gameplay video on there that you can play if you want, to answer some of these questions. People are asking, these screenshots, I'm guessing, are from a PC build that no one can play yet, because that's not what the game looks like. But yeah, go on, Jamie.
Yeah. So, I guess I wanted to know, like, so where did they start? Did they build out the whole game for PC first and then scale down? Because stuff like that, what you say with the draw distance, that does not sound like those elements were designed with the Quest in mind, and then it turns out that that's an unfortunate side effect of scaling down to the Quest platform, right?
Kind of feels like they had to kind of sidestep, because Quest 2 was coming out, and it's on the box for Quest 2, but it didn't come out for Quest 2 like launch day. It kind of feels like, oh my god, we've got to really push this headset, we've got to get all the good games on there. I imagine that's what kind of happened with that, and put Quest 2 first, because Rift to them is dead. So
I still disagree with showing PC footage, especially if they're not even going to say it's ever coming to PC. They haven't had any indication that it is. Everything's always been, it's a Oculus Quest platform exclusive. No, they don't use the word exclusive. I think the trailer says only available on the Quest platform. I think that's the phrase it uses. So I'm guessing it's going to come to PC though. Like it would be weird if it didn't.
Yeah, for sure. And
Hopefully.
like, I wonder if they will do the whole Steam VR thing that they started with Medal of Honor with this as well, because it definitely seems like it deserves it, right? And it's such an interesting developer. Like, Crytek has been like through the wars as a company over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
I didn't think they'd live to make another VR game, essentially, after some of the reports that came about in the past few years. But I'm glad it's here. I would love to see them go on and do more than the climb now. Like, this is really cool, and it's such a great showcase of VR. But those guys are known for Crysis and all these other kinds of cool games, and it would be really great to see them like lean into some of that stuff and like come out maybe next with like a VR shooter or something. But having said that, this looks good. This looks really good. I do want to check this out. I love the different environments.
What happens when you fall?
You respawn at the last checkpoint. See this clip right there? That's a checkpoint.
But you
does it
do
just
you
like
actually
black or you see yourself fall the whole way?
You know, you only fall for maybe a second or two. Here's the example. This is perfect. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to go down this zip line, and you'll see the handholds appear suddenly right before I hit the wall. This is one of the points that happens.
I mean, it looks gorgeous still. Like when you look,
it's happening.
Like, yeah, it looks really good, but oh man, this is
okay. Here
we go.
See, I'm approaching this wall, and I'm like, okay, what the hell am I supposed to do? This is just a wall.
Pigeons are appearing out of nowhere.
I was like,
and
there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That's so crazy. That see, basically you were looking out across a big long canyon of buildings, basically. And until the last 3 seconds, you didn't know where you were going to grab once the zip line had come to an end. That's insane.
Right.
Also, who does this? This is a good Spider-Man VR game, isn't it? Oh no! There you go. That's what happens when you fall.
Okay, there we go.
So with the release of The Climb 2, that's kind of all the games they announced at Facebook Connect last year out now, right? There's not. That was like their holiday season.
Sniper Elite.
That's true. Sniper Elite is one that's left. But apart from that, and obviously there's the Boneworks game still to come, which was announced like 2 years ago now. It's about time for the next like jump of like, here's what's coming in the next like 6 months, right? Like usually they do that around GDC. It's GDC
I was just gonna say it's almost like GDC would be perfect timing right now.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see more. I mean, I'm saying that as we legitimately don't know. Maybe we'll see like the next, here's what 2021 looks like for Quest 2 some point this month, which would be cool.
Yeah, it would be good timing. Every 6 months or so, it would be good to have something like that. Daniel, yes, Horizon has been coming since the dawn of man. It is still on the horizon.
But Smash Reality, Spider-Man doesn't need to know what he's going to grab onto. He just sticks to everything. That's he doesn't.
G-Dog, I think.
Come on, man.
They said Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell are coming to Quest, right? Those are going to be Quest games.
They've just said Oculus. I don't know why they're so coy on it. I mean, they might be coy on it because maybe those games started development on Rift and now they're like, you have to get it onto Quest. But we also like a Medal of Honor kind of situation where they don't know if they're going to pull it off. That might be the only reason why they've.
Poor Medal of Honor, just always the example now, isn't it?
Yeah, to point and laugh at.
To be completely screwed over, like Medal of Honor. Turn out horrible, like Medal of Honor.
I mean, that's how you know that the VR gaming industry is maturing. Is that we have a Medal of Honor game to make fun of, like the regular game industry.
We just jumped past the stage where they were really good, like in the early PS2 days, and just straight into another year Medal of Honor. We're just going to give this one 5 out of 10 too.
Yep.
Classic golden age of gaming.
Well, Quest is having a good string of games. I think we can agree that there's been a lot of good Quest games recently. However, a headset that didn't have anything on the horizon until very recently is the PSVR. That's a game that we just got a big flood of new stuff to look forward to, and it came out of basically nowhere. Full disclosure, we did not know there were going to be a bunch of PSVR games announced this week. We had no idea.
I don't think anyone did.
Yeah,
I don't think even the developers really knew. I was just like, okay.
Yeah, they probably submitted those blog posts to Sony like 6 months ago, and then Sony decided, we have these 6 PSVR blog posts just sitting in drafts. Why don't we just publish all of them?
Maybe these games are coming out soon. Who knows?
Yeah.
When's the next date of play?
Yeah. So quickly, I'll run through the games, and then we'll go back and talk about some of them. First is Zenith, is a VR MMO. We already knew that was coming to PSVR, but now it has a subtitle. It's going to be called Zenith: The Last City. It's also coming to Quest and PC VR and non-VR on PC. It's going to be just a big, giant game across everything. There's Doom 3 VR Edition. There's Fracked. There's I Expect You to Die 2. Also, that's coming to Quest. Fracked is a PSVR exclusive, though. After the Fall is also coming to PC VR, and it'll have crossplay with PSVR. and then Song in the Smoke, which is coming to PSVR and Quest at the moment. So those are all 6 games that we just got a bunch of new information about that we had no idea was coming this week. So it's been busy.
Yeah, it was nice. It felt like we were back in the heyday of PSVR when, like 2 or 3 years ago, when there were like a good solid like 3 or 4 big things on the horizon every year. Like I feel like last year for PSVR ended up being pretty dry. There was Iron Man and there was a few other things, but it wasn't. You could tell like the headsets days were numbered and that we were building up to PS5 and that's where the focus was and whatnot. And I mean, notable from this list is that there aren't any, first party Sony exclusives on this. They haven't, or any even Sony published games. I think Fract, which is a PSVR exclusive, I'm not necessarily sure that's still published by Sony. It doesn't have the kind of support that Iron Man VR had. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's the case. And they've done a really good 1-2 punch these past 2 weeks of saying, actually, we haven't forgot about VR. Last week announced PSVR 2. This week, by the way, while you're waiting, here's 6 more things to be excited about. And it was a really, really smart and good move to say, oh, and by the way, in 4 weeks, Doom 3 is going to be on PSVR. So it's coming out March 29th, which is... Sorry, go for it.
I was going to say, you say it's smart, but it would have been smarter if they just put it in the state of play. I mean, come on. That's literally
that's
what
true.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's so stupid that they didn't put it in there. I almost feel like the 2 teams didn't converse about this, like, whatsoever. Like, the PSVR team is like, oh, yeah, we've got all these really cool things coming up, but we're not going to tell anyone. And then State of Play just kind of got put together and went out. And then PSVR like, oh, no, we should have put it in there.
It was literally a week ago. It was like, 30 minutes long? Could they not have just put the Doom 3 trailer in there somewhere? Like, I don't get it.
It's a strange thing. I do believe there was someone talking about it, like from Sony a couple of months ago, that they said, you remember the first State of Play, which was 2 years ago now, was when, they led with, it was a really big one. Iron Man got announced, Five Nights at Freddy's got announced, No Man's Sky VR got announced. So it was this huge thing for PSVR. But I think because they were all PSVR things and it was their first State of Play, I think like the reaction, wide scale, wasn't very enthusiastic. And so I think that kind of warned them off some of the PSVR support announcements in later State of Play. So at the same time, you could just communicate, this is only going to be VR announcements and this is our VR State of Play. And I think there was definitely more than enough content here to have a State of Play. And you could have done it with Wraith involved, and you could have done it with a couple of other games involved as well. But yeah, Doom 3 is a really, really interesting one to lead with because that game has so much VR history now, right? Like it was it was almost essentially the first Oculus Rift game. It was demoed with John Carmack on the duct tape Rift prototypes at E3. I want to say 2012. I think that was when it was. Maybe 2011, but I think 2012. And they even promised originally in the Oculus Kickstarter that Rift would come with Doom 3 built in, and it's only that's 9 years later, or I think maybe 8 years later. Maybe the Rift Kickstarter was 2013. It's finally actually happening, and it's happening on PSVR, and it's going to support the aim controller, which is fantastic news.
Oh, I'm so excited, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to use the aim controller with a chainsaw.
It's funny because we've been talking so much about not only how much we love the aim, but I feel like you and I talk so much about how much we love good, like mostly linear, just campaign shooters, a game where you just go through the game, you kill monsters or aliens or whatever, and you have a story with it. And VR doesn't have like very many of those at all, like hardly at all. And Farpoint was one of the best ones on PSVR. And now Doom 3 in VR is it's gonna be exactly what I've been wanting out of a VR shooter for so long because we haven't had anything like it. Doom VFR doesn't really count. That game was so short, and I feel like it was held back by them trying to force so many VR things into it. I can't remember what you gave it. You gave it like a 5 or I can't remember exactly what you gave it in your review.
I think I gave it a 6. And you're right. They tried to cram so much of it because it was off the back of the 2016 Doom reboot, which was such an incredible, fast-paced, thrilling game. And then they took that approach with the VR version of, you know, trying to keep up with that pace and doing everything in that game that you could do in Doom 2016, and it didn't really work. I thought there was just too much in it, like you said, especially on PSVR where you're combating tracking every once in a while. But Doom 3 is a, you know, very decidedly slower paced Doom game. It's almost a horror game.
Yeah.
And I think that suits it perfectly. I actually only recently played through Doom 3 for the first time. I played it on my Switch, where God intended it to be played, on my Switch Lite. And
I'm excited because I've never played it. I played I played a demo at E3 one year, you know, maybe like 30 minutes, and I think after it came out, I might have played the first couple hours, but the whole flashlight thing annoyed me. So I never really finished it. But I know that's been fixed now, so I'm excited about it in VR.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good get, especially again for PSVR owners, which is an audience that really does want those campaign-driven shooters. They haven't announced it for any other platforms yet. I would like to think if Bethesda's publishing it, we're probably going to see a PC version later down the line, but that's not confirmed. I would definitely like to think there would maybe be the chance of an exclusive, of a native Oculus Quest version. Of course, there's already a really, really good mod on side quests that you can do from Dr. Beef, but it'd be really, really cool. It'd be a very big get for Quest to get this. And
so, do we know, is this being developed by Bethesda themselves, or is it like outsourced, like they did Skyrim and Fallout and stuff?
It's being developed by Archaeact Interactive, the guys that did, I at least partially. I don't know if they're doing all of it, but they definitely have a heavy hand in it. So those are the guys that did Freediver, Triton Down, and what was the PSVR shooter? Evasion, which was another rifle game, right? Aim controller game. Yeah, which is just cool. So I have high hopes of that one. I think these are the two biggest from this list. I'm also really excited about Fracked. I think Fracked looks really, really, really good.
Such a festive mood.
Oh yeah, you like it because it had, what was it? Let It Snow in the trailer.
For Christmas, everyone.
You're always ready for Christmas.
That was great.
It is a great trailer, and it's interesting. Endreams really stepped it up with Phantom Covert Ops last year, in my opinion. I thought that was a huge, yeah.
They've come out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. And it was such a great considered game, and this is kind of building on, you know, that idea of different ways to move about in VR. So in Phantom, you were in a kayak, and then in this game, you know, you can be skiing, you can be free running, and you can be rock climbing. We're going to see the trailer here. So yeah, look at all this movement. You're skiing down hills. It's really, really nice visual palette. I think makes perfect sense for VR.
So is it a kind of political game though? Like you go through and you kill a bunch of people who are fracking. Is it a political game? Is it what?
I don't know.
Killing a bunch of people fracking.
Based on the puns, I don't think so.
Evil fracking. Yeah, it's not an environmental.
I mean, the trailer just showed on the screen is the end of the fracking world, so I'm guessing that it's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of approach. I could be wrong.
I would have mad respect for it if it just like ended with like one of those like Hideo Kojima style like fracking has ruined our world since like 2017 or something like that. I would, and you're like, okay, but I just free ran through a snowy village and murdered a bunch of people. But you know, you do you. Maybe it is. We'll find out. We'll have to ask them.
The devs are listening in, pulling out their collar, going. Yee.
That tweet, you know, the tweet they're preparing is like, "This is not a political game" or something like
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think
I like the art style too.
Yeah, I think this is my favorite announcement.
Yeah, this was my favorite announcement. Sure.
What else did you think looked good, David? There's a couple of other ones I think are pretty cool.
I'm super excited for Zenith. You know, I'm an MMO guy. So that game is one that I'm excited about. They raised over 280,000 on Kickstarter, which is, you know, not a small amount. So that's pretty impressive. My trepidation with it is the only other game I'm aware of that these people worked on in VR was a failed Overwatch clone. I cannot remember the name. It was a PSVR game. It didn't really, it just didn't take off. It didn't find much of an audience. But what they've shown in trailers, what we've seen of Zenith looks incredible. There is not a game anything like it on PSVR at all. There's no VR MMOs on PSVR. Over on Quest and PC, we've got Orbis, which has a lot of MMO elements. But this is being designed as a true VR MMO. It's going to have support for PSVR, Quest, PC, PC VR, non-PC VR. And I'm really excited because of the scale. You can jump out and fly around, which is cool. They've said their combat is inspired by Beat Saber, which I'm a little curious to see what that's going to feel like. And they've shown it, it's a lot of slashing and stuff like that, but combat is so hard to do in melee-based fantasy games. It's just nailing that feeling of contact is so difficult. So I'm going to be curious to see how it turns out. It gives me heavy Phantasy Star Online vibes with the art style, kind of a fantasy meets sci-fi setting. So I'm excited for it. I'm very curious to see what it's like. And it coming to PSVR is going to be awesome. I think it's one of those games that is going to come out near the end of the PSVR life cycle, and then once the new headset comes out, it'll probably get like a good boost in performance of some kind, like better draw distance and stuff like that. But yeah, it looks good. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. There's a lot of hype anytime someone says their VR game is also an MMO, or an MMO is also going to be a VR game, because it does build towards that idea that, a lot of people really only want one VR game, right? And it's the one that they can just be in all the time and have different adventures in every night. And it's kind of pushing at that metaverse.
That's why VR chat's so popular.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's this. I think this looks really, really good. I love the art style. It's such a lofty ambition to really meet the high expectations of everything a VR MMO could be. But it looks like they could have a really good starting point here at the very, very least, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of people have been saying that it's Zenith, which I don't believe. I don't believe you guys. I think you guys are wrong.
It's named after you.
No, I think it's Zenith.
It's the children who are wrong.
We could go watch the original Kickstarter video. I'm sure they say the name of the game in that. Or I could just continue saying Zenith. I think I might just do that. Or maybe I'll pronounce it. I'll pronounce it Zenita.
No, please don't. I'm asking you personally. Please don't do that. I don't want to hear that.
Zenita Vermamo.
No, because at some point I'll have to say that for our coverage, and I don't want to do that.
Katyam HD, I don't think they're going to do monthly sub. I think it'll be a buy-to-play game like Orbis. A lot of MMOs have abandoned subscription models. So that's very rare nowadays. The only two that really do that anymore are Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft. Pretty much every MMO other than those is either free to play or buy to play nowadays. I wouldn't be surprised if they have an optional premium sub. That's what Elder Scrolls Online does, RuneScape, Phantasy Star. Pretty much all of them have like an optional monthly sub that gives you a bunch of perks, but it's not required to play the game. So then they might adopt that model. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't think it'll be a subscription.
I also don't think
some of the other games.
Let's not call it Zenith. I think that would be a bad
Zenith.
But thank you for the suggestion. Xena-ish.
Xena, I would recommend you log on immediately to claim your name as soon as that game comes out, because it's probably going to be a popular one.
To copyright it.
Yeah. Another one I'm hyped about is Song in the Smoke, because I've been playing a lot of Valheim personally, and I've been waiting for a good made for VR survival game. Because we have The Forest and we have Green Hell coming, and we had a few other games here and there, but nothing made for VR. So Song of the Smoke looks great to me. It's a horrible name. I don't like the name. It's kind of dumb, but
reminds me
the
of
art style is nice.
He's in a trap, but it's okay.
That's the sequel.
I think everyone in the comments was saying that too. Actually, what an incredible coincidence!
Really?
I'm joking. No one else was saying that. No one else was saying that, Xena.
Yeah, I'm hyped about Song of the Smoke. I think the art style is pretty nice. I'm really excited about. Have they said it? Is it co-op? It's got to be co-op, right? Surely it is. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see anything about online, but so this one's also coming, like you said earlier, also coming to like PC and Quest. I agree. I think like a really, really decent survival game is something that VR really, really needs. I have high hopes for this one too. I think the art is really, really nice. It does have that kind of definite indie edge to it. I think the guys, the team that made this also did something called Galaxy, which I think is one of those kind of top-down 2D shootery types, right? Not
kind of a side. It's kind of a shoot 'em up Metroidvania hybrid, kind of. It's a cool game. Yeah, there's a couple of them. They're good games.
Onike's just said, that those are those guys, so it's one to look forward to. So that's exciting. I definitely have high hopes for that. There's something a little weird about this bunch of announcements where, because you announced PSVR 2 last week, I'm kind of looking at some of these and being like, oh, I wish this was on the new headset too. But I mean, we don't know what they're going to do with backwards compatibility and stuff, right? But it would be really cool and really strong to launch PSVR 2 with Doom 3 and Fracked and stuff, but they're all coming out this year, so that won't be happening, at least in terms of them being genuinely new games at PSVR 2 launch, but we'll see.
And yeah, that's right, Onikazi. I forgot Galaxy had a VR edition that came out.
Oh, I had no idea about that. Oh, cool. I should try and check that out.
Speaking of PSVR 2, a game that I really wish had just waited until PSVR 2 is whatever Impulse Gear is working on. They announced this week that their next title is a VR game. They did not say PSVR, they said VR game. And then they also said that it is coming out this year. So they've been working on it presumably for how long now? The past 4 years. And it's coming out this year is what they've said. So that's pretty exciting. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets delayed. But they are claiming it's coming out this year.
Maybe they said VR because it's PSVR 2 and they can't say PSVR 2, but they also can't say PSVR.
Well, if it was coming out this year, then it wouldn't be PSVR 2 is the thing. So I mean, again, it could be a cross-generational title if that's going to be a thing with PSVR. Or, like we don't know what that studio is not owned by Sony at the end of the day. So they clearly have a very good relationship with them. Like I think David was saying in an episode a couple of weeks ago, Farpoint managed to get that big top banner at E3 one year, which is like this kind of really good definitive statement about how much they believed in Farpoint. And Farpoint was a great game, or a good game on the upload scale, actually, I should say. And I don't know. They've been teasing this for a while. They've been saying they're working on something very special for a while. I'd like to believe them that it is something very special, because I think there was a lot of Farpoint that was really, really, really cool. It was just when you boiled it down to the design of a first-person shooter, it was literally just walk in a straight line and shoot the spiders that are jumping at you, right? Like, and that made it as cool and as immersive as it was to be on that planet and use that controller. And as good as the story was, I really liked some elements of the story they did. As a piece of game design, it wasn't too spectacular. So I'm hoping they can bring that to the next level with this. They had a little.
It does have the benefit. It has a great benefit to me of being such a good core foundation that my mind can't help but get excited for what they could do next. Because if their first swing at this was already on par with, some of the best corridor shooters of the PS2, PS3 era, then given 4 years of development time and more time with the hardware, like I'm just excited to see what they do next, because I think it could be really special. And fingers crossed it is, because I mean, what better way to send off the PSVR than another game from the studio that brought us one of its most innovative, pieces of technology with the aim controller, because I think Impulse Gear, didn't they help Sony? They co-designed it with Sony, the aim controller. I want to say they were consulting on the actual creation of it.
Yeah, and it definitely launched alongside the controller. It was a pack-in, wasn't it? So they definitely had a huge impact on that controller. Like the first time we saw it at E3 was with that device. So yeah, it's on the screen now. Great little controller that. I'm so looking forward to playing Doom with that thing. And hopefully we get to play whatever Impulse Gear's next game is too. But yeah, we'll see. There was a little teaser. There was a little teaser in the blog post that if you clicked on it, there was like some alien messaging. And if it's alien messaging, maybe it is Farpoint 2, because obviously it's all very sci-fi. But then again, I feel like if it was Farpoint 2, maybe they'd have done a bit more direct teasing at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah, because it's not like they have a huge back catalog of games they could be pulling from. They're the Farpoint studio. They're making a new VR game. If it was Farpoint, it would behoove you to tell us so that we can get appropriately excited. But if it's not Farpoint, then it makes sense to not tell us. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. We'll have to wait and see. A lot of people in chat are asking us to talk about Demeo. Is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Demeo.
Yeah.
Another one that
I
just
never
got,
knew how to pronounce that.
Yeah, there was something about 7 a.m. PT yesterday where everyone just decided to fire. Demeo, that's a good point. I should have thought to talk about this. There should be there's some gameplay. This is great because this is actually going to be the first time that I've watched this now in the studio because I haven't had time to catch up with this yet. This is Resolution Games' latest title. It's like multiplayer tabletop RPG. Like the idea being, we can't do that together as friends in the real world right now, so why not make something for VR that lets people do that online? And I don't know, this is interesting. We know Resolution as people that make casual games like Cookout, an Overcooked clone, or Acron, a very fun party game, or Bait, which is a free-to-play fishing game. This is, your hardcore cards and dice and, strategic positioning on a board. This looks really cool. This is the first time I'm seeing this. This looks really, really cool. Oh my God, I can't believe how cool this looks.
I'm so incredibly sold on this. Like, I'm beyond excited at this point because I'm a huge D&D fan. Every time we would go to E3 and GDC, I would always bring my maps and my chests of DM stuff, and I would always play D&D with Ian and Tal and Joe and like everyone. We always play D&D at events, and I'm excited for this. This looks amazing.
Because this is also
so. Is it? Have they said? Is it loosely based on actual D&D 5th edition rule set, or is it their own creation that just happens to ape D&D so gratuitously?
So it's their own creation that does ape D&D gratuitously, but I haven't got the right name for the developer. So I'm going to see if I can find it while I'm talking about it. But basically,
it's Resolution, right?
Yeah, but someone within Resolution. So basically, last year they hired one of the original developers at id Software, and famously, those guys loved playing D&D in the early days. John Carmack had this really long-going, persistent game that I think in the end, John Romero ended up ruining by destroying the world. And then John Carmack was like, "Okay, well, we can't play this anymore." And everyone was like, "Oh no, just pretend we didn't do that." And John Carmack was like, No, sorry. You destroyed my world, and that's it. That's what happened.
It sounds about right.
Yeah. And but so I think he was
in Xenomeo.
Yeah, I was kind of chuckling to myself reading some of these.
But yeah, so it's from people that have been playing D&D for a long time. Hey,
hello,
Smash Reality.
Boy.
Thank you
the
so
Smash
much.
Reality is that's Mike Ward, actually. So that,
the absolute boy.
So we do know him. Thank you, Smash Reality, for being a new member. I'll add you to the list of names I shout out at the beginning of each show.
So yeah, there's history there of people that have been playing it for a long time. and enjoyed it for a long, long time. So I think that kind of counts. I think they'll do some really, really cool stuff together, and that's coming this year. It's also optional VR. So if you want to play with people just on PC, you'll be able to do that too. But it is coming to Quest and PC, and hopefully maybe PSVR. But we haven't actually seen a resolution game on PSVR for a long time, so maybe not. That's sad.
Anyway. So Adam said this has the Cookout social DNA 100%.
Yeah, I mean it's what they do now, right? A Cookout was such a good Overcooked clone because unlike a lot of people that attempt that in VR, it actually had a full co-op campaign, right? And that's what Resolution do really, really well. They actually flesh out proper products around really, really good ideas like this. So yeah, good on them. I'm really excited after seeing that.
On your brothers.
What I'm going to say right now, two things it needs. It needs a way to create your own campaigns and your own maps, and it needs a way to download those that others have made.
Yeah, that'd be huge.
That needs to be in there.
It also needs talking mice that go, dude, awesome.
Yes, it does.
For God's sake. That was in Cookout, just so everyone
That was in Cookout, but it's just yet another thing that just we say on a daily basis. And we just picked up into our vocabulary.
Smash Reality, you can play Cookout in single player. You'll have AI players with you, I believe. It's fun, but I would definitely seek a multiplayer option if you're looking to play that. Mike, Quest 3 or Quest 2 Pro? That's kind of stuff we covered on Monday in our tech-focused download podcast. I will say Quest 2 Pro, if you're asking me to choose right now, but I don't know what else everyone.
The Wink heard around the world would agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Adam said, "Smells delicious."
There's a man that watched our Cookout streams.
Oh God, absolute boy.
Yeah. So, but speaking of Quest 3 and Quest Pro 2, very tenuously, Facebook put out some new apps this week, today, which is pretty interesting. On App Lab, they put out a hand tracking version of First Steps, their introductory software for Quest, and they put out a game called Tiny Castles, I believe it's called.
Tiny Castles, yeah.
So yeah, very interesting. 2 new full App Lab releases from them. In the description for First Steps, they say it's an experimental release to show developers the kinds of things they can do with hand tracking, which obviously has some connotations that, maybe Facebook is stepping it up and wants to see a lot more hand tracking native gaming software on Quest. Since the launch of hand tracking, we've only really seen movies add hand tracking support. There are a couple of games. I've played it. This is the footage of me playing First Steps. It's all the same stuff that was in the original First Steps, but completely configured now for hand tracking. It's cool, but it's again one of those things where the hand tracking is not quite there, and that's why it's an App Lab release, I suspect, and it's for developers, not really meant to be seen by other people. But the nature of App Lab is that if you want to try it, you can. It's just they have some really interesting ideas in this, beyond just pinching objects to pretend that you're holding them. They've also got, like, you remember the remote controlled blimp in First Steps? It's got that here, and what you do is you pick up the controller, and then if you point your index finger forward while you're holding the controller, and we'll see this in a bit, I think, the blimp will start moving forward. And then it said, I couldn't quite figure out how it worked, but it said use your thumb to steer. So I think that was just waving your thumb about. I was trying to move the analog stick, but that didn't quite work. Then they had some guns, and you pick those up, and it wants you to pull the trigger, but I couldn't really get that to work in a kind of forward-facing way because there's so much occlusion going on. If you're where's the camera? If you're doing this, there's so much occlusion while you're firing in VR, so I had to kind of fire to the side like that, which isn't very cool or immersive. That's punching that ball. It's it's interesting that these are out there, and I haven't tried Tiny Castle. It did look a little cooler. It's interesting that these are out there because it does signal that Facebook is probably, talking to developers about what they can do with full hand tracking experiences, because, potentially in the guise of, Quest 3 and Quest Pro 2, there's a chance at some point that maybe Facebook releases a headset without the controllers that's cheaper and only has access to the hand tracking content, which would be really, really cool. But yeah, it's all just still the same kind of hand tracking stuff you've seen on the platform before. There's some nice ideas. It doesn't really work. It's one of those things you try for 5 minutes and think, I can't wait for this to get better, right?
Yeah. I think hand tracking without any haptics is doomed to always kind of not be that great.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, there's so many different avenues you could go down with input for VR, and I understand why they've got this hand tracking in there, because it just can be done with all the tech they've already got embedded in the Quest. But I really want gloves at the end of the day that can do the haptics, that have better tracking. It's just those aren't easy hygienic solutions, so that's probably not what we're going to see as a consumer model.
And it would end up like I imagine a dancing mat under your bed scrunched up, and then you totally mess up the tracking.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
I feel like the good name of the Power Glove is being besmirched right now, and I don't appreciate it, first of all, and second of all, I want gloves. I think it'd be cool.
Good name is a stretch, but yeah, okay. Fondly remembered, I suppose we could go for.
I love the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Mike Cara was asking, they've got a Quest 1. Should they buy a Quest 2 or wait for a next gen?
I would say wait.
I don't know if I would say...
That's a good Quest 2.
Okay, I would say maybe wait, but I wouldn't say wait for the next headset. I would say wait to see if this year they announce a game that's only on Quest 2. That's what I'd say. Because there's a couple of things coming to Quest that, in my opinion, are so ambitious that it's gonna. I wonder if they won't release until maybe later on in the year, or maybe in 2022, and they will only be on Quest 2. Because at some point, just like iPads, just like smartphones, they have to start making that transition away. I need to check out how Wraith looks on Quest 1. I haven't done that yet, because it looks so good on Quest 2 that I can't imagine it really living up to it on Quest 1. And if it's the case that stuff like that, and obviously The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners have really, really obvious differences, then I would maybe again say there's enough of those types of games now that you should go ahead and make that switch. Also, Warhammer got updated with Quest 2 enhanced visuals this week, so I need to check that out too. But you could definitely afford to wait until, I would say, the end of this year. See, first of all, here's what. Okay, I'm going to start over. Here's what you should do: wait until September or October for the next Facebook Connect Reality Conference, and if they announce, Quest 2 exclusive content and there's no new consumer hardware announcement, then you should do it. That's what I say.
I just want to quickly pull attention to the chat. I think Adam said that HTC are they are teasing something, but they just took the worst picture ever and posted it and said, "It's your move." What's our move? It was really close up on their logo, and that's it. That's all we see.
Yeah, my takeaway from that picture was they don't know how to do dramatic diss tweets, because they were clearly trying to make some kind of statement, but if you don't have anything to say, then you're not making a statement. It's a picture of half a logo that it's meaningless.
What if it's a VR dance game? Then it is your move. What if it's VR chess? What if they're making chess?
Fair enough.
Yeah, neither of you thought about it. Neither of you thought about that, and now you have to think about it. Okay.
Queen's Gambit VR coming soon. And some people were asking about the climb again. I do want to just say that we covered the climb extensively earlier, the climb 2. So you can read my review at uploadvr.com, or if you want to rewind this talk and listen at the beginning, we talked about the climb a bunch. I recommend it, even if you didn't like the first game. I think it's a lot more diverse and it does a lot more with what it's doing. I think so now I think we're ready to go ahead and switch gears here a lot more than we ever have, really, to a completely new topic. We're not even going to talk about VR anymore. We're going to talk about AR for the rest of the show. So here you go. You might have saw the news, the HoloLens 2, Microsoft showed off Microsoft Mesh, which was awesome. Check that out. Check that out at uploadvr.com. But more specifically, Pokemon Go on the HoloLens was shown in a video. And the possibilities are just ridiculous to think about. To think about having a game like Pokemon Go where you can just see your Pokemon on the ground in front of you, where you can feel like you're melding the worlds together in such a cool way. Maybe in the future, whenever AR glasses and headsets have field of view that's larger than a postage stamp, it'll be more impressive and exciting. For now, it's, the marketing videos are nothing like the reality at all. But it's exciting to think about, right? Like, I mean, a game like Pokemon Go, I could see myself actually playing it if it was an AR game that I could wear my glasses instead of having to hold my phone. So it's kind of cool.
I mean, this just reminds me of the video where a guy was doing Pokemon Go in Central Park at night, got his phone stolen, and because he was streaming,
I remember that.
It was all filmed and like whatever. Imagine if you were in a $3,000 pair of glasses.
Yeah, you literally just swipe them off your face.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, it just does signal how far all of this stuff really is. What's on the screen right now is actually our HoloLens 2 recording of a multiplayer session in Mesh, not of Pokemon Go, but of a showcase demo that Microsoft made. And I've tried this out too. And I agree with everyone in the comments that I'm actually not hugely optimistic about AR, not because I think it's rubbish and useless. I think it's incredibly useful for productivity and stuff. I don't like AR as much of a creative tool as I do VR because AR keeps me in the real world. Having said that, and I want to run away. I want to have adventures in completely different places and escape, essentially. Having said that, there are a few IP out there where it just makes perfect sense, and Pokemon is absolutely one of them. We've already proven, or it's already been proven, that Pokemon Go can be a killer app for AR, right? Like, everyone was suddenly doing it that summer that it first came out, and it's maintained a very strong user base ever since. And it's just such a brilliant idea. And when they can take that to the next level, because Onikaz is right where he said, it's all PR spin in these trailers. It's not accurately representing the field of view of the HoloLens. You wouldn't be able to see all these Pokemon that easily. True, 100% true. But when you can, oh man, that's going to be one of the coolest must-buy things for sure. And they were teasing at the end. They were teasing multiplayer battles. And if Niantic can keep the momentum going and still be here in the, I don't know what, like, it's so far out from this stuff being at the level they showed in that video, to be fair. But maybe 5, maybe 10 years, if they're there with the foundation in place, that's like the easiest sell for a piece of technology I think I've ever seen. And they keep bringing the price down, and for a reasonable price, you can have the Pokemon experience in the real world. That's just really, really cool. So that got me thinking about, and got the rest of us thinking about, what other like dream AR content is there out there? What are the other kinds of games and apps that we think would really, really sell? Because Niantic's done other stuff, right? It's done the Harry Potter thing, which wasn't a huge deal. Yeah. There's like a Walking Dead thing. There's Jurassic World. Nice. None of that stuff is there is, and it's not really taken off.
They're all
much
Pokemon Go clones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I can go because I've been thinking about this. I have 2 answers. I'll give my serious one first. I would love to do a Metroidvania game inside like inside my own house, essentially, where I could only open up certain doors in my own house once I had grabbed a certain item, a certain power up, and could blow up the door with a virtual missile or something like that. Imagine like building like a whole kind of like getting to go to like a shopping center or a shopping mall or like a museum or something like that, and like having like a Metroid style map where you're walking down halls, you saw a locked door, remembered that, you have to bear that in mind, remember it while you go and find a key for it elsewhere. I think that could be really, really cool. It would really change escape room games as well.
I mean, I wouldn't do it in a mall or something. You just start punching people, right? Or
what? Why?
Come on, like you just go around a mall and like you're just acting really suspicious, hiding around, like you would be pulled up by the security or something.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure it's an organized event is what I'm getting at. Not just some guy goes into a mall and
that's fine.
No, it'd be so interesting if you took that concept and then expanded it to like a global scale, kind of like Pokemon Go does with its location-based stuff, where you could say like, oh, I went on vacation in Scotland and found the key that opens that door back in America that I couldn't open in my house.
Be so cool.
Like actually having to go on global scavenger hunts, like and make it like, like a really intricate sort of like lore mystery, like National Treasure style, like, hidden clues and stuff like that.
You would have to do it in the only way that I would agree with these, like big AR games. You can't just have it like Pokemon Go where you just go wherever. Because I remember all the stories. I remember back when I was working at another VR website. There was a story about a guy who like fell off a cliff because he was doing Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like,
or people were arrested for like going into public buildings, or was someone like went to a graveyard or something like that, or because
Oh, they went to really bad place in
Yeah.
You're
right. It could be dangerous. My other answer was just my troll answer, which is that I would like Digimon Go because Digimon's better than Pokemon.
Was that your big suggestion that you wouldn't tell me before the show?
Maybe.
He was literally like walking off like, I'm not going to tell you because my idea is so good. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Digimon.
Yeah, my good idea was the Metroidvania thing. The Digimon is the troll.
Pokemon,
the troll ones.
Just like what Digimon did, just took Pokemon and cloned it.
Yeah, and made it better in the process. And you could have
Digimon the champions.
World, digital world. Anyway, those are my two suggestions. If anyone else has any other suggestions, I will now be taking answers in the comments about how great Digimon is.
A great idea I didn't think of. Magic the Gathering AR would be sick.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Like, because you could do it now. Like, I'm sure Tilt 5 probably has the capability already. We need to check in on Tilt 5. But, like, what if you could buy a pack of, like, I don't know, 100 AR cards, and then you just put on the headset, and it becomes your deck in Magic the Gathering, And you could just play, like, combine it with Microsoft Mesh, have the person sit in front of you, you're playing a game of Magic sitting across the table from somebody.
That would be really, really, really cool.
Or
then you
AR
could play
poker,
anywhere.
Yeah. They would have to play special music when you've got Pocket Zombie. I remember when we played Magic the Gathering in a board game shop, and these people we were playing against just kept shouting Pocket Zombie and taking out a zombie card from their from their little shirt pocket.
You want like a little. You want a jingle for the Pocket Zombie. Yeah, there you go. Look,
Pocket
that kind
Zombie.
Of stuff
it says it for you as you place it down.
We have seen those sorts of ideas like experimented with, but never the official thing. I think that'd be such cool. Like if you could still keep it to like the physical card game, but they all had like little QR codes that you could scan once.
Yeah.
So then you could just take the deck anywhere you wanted to go. Because I mean, me and Zena, we had like a summer where we were really into Magic, and like we went to the park to try and play it, right? But it was just complete faff at the end of the day. It was very hard to
it was. Marge
to
was
work it
getting
all out.
Card.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Oh.
And so it'd be really cool to be able to take it anywhere, just because of your headset.
Johnny was not happy that day.
No, he wasn't.
And my my other real suggestion that I had thought of before the show is an AR horror game. This is something that Magic Leap was teasing and talking about back before the Magic Leap 1 came out years ago. As I think they called it Ghost Girl or something like that. But that's where my idea originally comes from, is the concept of a horror game where it's inside your actual home, right? You're wearing AR goggles. There's a mobile app that does something like this called Night Terrors. So it's kind of a similar idea, but basically the idea would be a horror game that takes place in your home, so it knows the layout of your house. It knows where your doors are, where locations are, and it could augment things in your environment. So it could have, things come out of pictures, or have, doors like appear open or closed, or, have, make it like PT, but AR. That's what I think would just be such an incredible experience that I would, probably die playing it, but I would die playing the greatest experience I've ever had. So it would be worth it.
Yeah, I mean that's where people would start getting punched in the face and whatnot, but not because of that no one had been authorized to do it, but because you'd start questioning what was real and attacking things.
Kids got their hands on that, right? So I remember when I was a kid, we used to play a game where we would tie a scarf around our heads, cover our eyes, and then we'd have to find each other in the house, which was just stupid and dangerous anyway. With AR.
Yeah, I never tried that. You guys were dumb.
We were poor.
Oh.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Well, those are my ideas. Zena, did you have any AR
I just have
ideas?
stupid comments as usual. That's my only kind of thing that I bring here. I remember on my phone back in the 2000s when AR games first started up. I loved them. I loved the heck out of these little floating aliens that would chase around outside and shoot. I mean, it wasn't accurate whatsoever, but that's my little input there. I mean, if they brought the Mario AR racing game to more platforms, I'm still itching to get my hands on them.
That'd be cool. Turning any, you could even do it though without Mario and with virtual carts, right? And just make a track anyway. You don't need a Switch to play it on. That'd be really cool.
I mean, do you know what? GoPro could make their own series, right? They can make a little kind of way cheaper version, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
chuck it on
really cool.
and have, I don't know, GoPro with Scalextrics. Let's say something like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be like a little.
Imagine how cool it would be if you could put a GoPro on your head and go jump off a cliff in a wingsuit and just recreate Rush, but that would be so sick. Where you're wearing an AR headset. Oh my god,
you're gonna be in the news.
We peaked.
Mike Cara just suggested Pavlov AR, which I think just means just shooting, which I don't know if I agree with Mike, but yeah,
just run around like this. I mean, I don't.
Or paintball, I guess maybe you could say, but
yeah.
Anyway, the potential is endless, but it's going to be ages, right?
What was that headset that got canceled? Was it the Lenovo one that it was like AR and VR mixed together?
Oh yeah.
What was it called? It was the one Ian did a big interview with them. It was after some conference where they showed, they showed him in a VR experience and his hands appeared and inside the game, and you could rearrange your living room and it would change the map of the game to account for your furniture and stuff. And what company was it? Was that Lenovo? Am I getting confused?
It might have been. I can't remember.
Or Intel? It was Intel.
What that's the reference design they had.
Yeah, the one they had the big they had the big stage demo, and then a year later it got canceled.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that back in the.
Yeah, I think it was Intel. Yeah,
but yeah, that's cool. We'll see what comes of that Pokemon thing. It's going to be a while. Again, it's going to be a long time until we get the Pokemon Go of our dreams, but I think we saw hints of that this week, and I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing something called the Magic Beans, Jack and the Magic Beanstalk, which is an AR storybook. Very, very cool.
Yeah. He said this demo is different, but as cool.
Okay, let's take a little look. We got some beans coming out of the book. Yeah, I don't trust those beans.
I don't trust them. They're disgusting.
I don't think they're rich in nutrients.
I was right. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
What?
All right. But that again, like very, very well, probably quite distant stuff. Yeah.
But one kind of note that I think kind of wraps it all up is we are definitely not going to be called Upload AR anytime soon.
No. I don't think we'll be making that jump. I don't. No. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe when we come up with a mix of the two that we all like, rather than mixed reality or XR or something. But.
Uploadvar.com.
This is so cool. I just want to watch this. We've just got such cool. Oh, wow. Whoa, watch out. There's a giant and he's put his hand through the roof. Anyway, this is probably
actually pick you up. Oh, whoa, he picks you up. That's sick.
No, he doesn't.
He's done it. Look, he's doing it right now.
Oh.
That's so cool.
His eyes are
Sorry
so
for people on the podcast. You have no idea what we're watching right now, but this is amazing.
Vic Mackey.
So, we can end that. We can end early.
Vic Mackey's looking straight at me.
That's not Vic Mackey.
Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Hope you had a good time watching our show, hanging out in chat, and joining us for this amazing, exciting discussion of Wraith, the Oblivion Afterlife, The Climb 2, a slew of PSVR games, all that kind of cool, exciting stuff. Shout out to our members here on YouTube, our paid subscribers, including Smash Reality, our newest member that just joined today during today's show. Also Dominique Frechman, John Westra, B.R. Shaw, Timmy Brown, Adam Hartzell, and Andy Lim. Thanks all of you for being paid supporters of the channel. And don't forget to tune into the other version of our VR download show on Mondays at 1 p.m. Pacific, where we talk about VR hardware. This is the game show on Thursdays, where we talk about the latest in VR gaming. And as you saw today, AR gaming sometimes too. So thank you very much. If you'd like to be a sponsor, you can do that. You can put a banner right here in the middle of our studio below Stevie the TV. You can also pay us to say whatever you want. So if you want to pay us to say something and do a commercial, we will totally
VR
do that.
Is dead. Was wrong.
Or also go to Amazon.com and look for an Upload VR t-shirt or pop socket. That's a great way to support us as well. So thank you very much. I hope you guys have a great, amazing day, great weekend, and thank you for tuning in. We will see you all again in the future.
Bye, team. Good to see you.
Thank you, everyone.